It is 6:25 on day 61, and I am leaving camp. So again, stayed at Castle Craig State Campground last night, and then I'm on the side trail that's about 2 miles back to the PCT, because the PCT is actually closed for 2 to 3 miles, not due to smoke. I think it's like trail construction or something. But anyways, today is going to be a very rough day. We don't know how many miles we're going to go yet, because it really depends how we're feeling. At minimum, we'll do 23.6 miles, which will be 6,300 feet of climbing. And at maximum, we'll do 29.6 miles and end at a lake, and that'll be 7,500 feet of climbing. So definitely a big climbing day. And so we're going to stop for lunch at 14 miles. We'll already have climbed about 5,000 feet. And then we'll decide how we're feeling and go from there. Our goal for this section is to get to Etna on the 4th day, which is like 98 miles away or something like that. So easily doable. Rocket has to get off trail on the 4th or 5th, ideally the 4th, to go to med school. So a very reachy goal is if we can make it to Ashland, where her grandparents are, by August 4th, where that would be doing 220 miles in 7 days, which honestly likely not gonna happen. But that'd be awesome if we could, or at least walk into Oregon with her, which is like 200 miles from here. But yeah, getting started early in the day, hopefully it being cool helps this climb go easier, and in the morning the smoke is a little bit more settled, so I don't have to deal with any air quality issues today. We are officially getting back on the PCT. That's the trail, the official PCT that we just had to take the side trail around, and now we're back on going north. Oh, here's a better angle of the smoke. Yeah, so the AQI index in Mount Shasta and in Redding this morning was between 50 and 100, which is higher than normal, but not unhealthy. And honestly, as I'm walking, I mean, I can see the smoke making the horizon hazy, but it's not affecting my breathing whatsoever. I don't smell it, taste it, anything like that. So we can only hope that that continues as we continue hiking north. The fire is far, far away from us. As growth has slowed down, we are 100% not at risk of a fire. It's just the smoke continuing to blow north because of the wind. I just remembered to introduce myself for the first time as Blues Clues. Even meeting Squirrel yesterday in the Trail Angel, I naturally said Steph, but that was the first time. Still felt a little bit weird. But that's okay. In case that you haven't gathered, that means I've accepted Blues Clues as my trail name. It's 11:30. Stopping earlier for lunch than normal because it's been a long climb. We talked about stopping Normally we do 18 miles, but we talked about stopping now because we have actually done the majority of the climb already. So we've done 14.3 miles and almost 4,900 feet. So gonna wait here for the others, and then we'll discuss how much further we're feeling. I don't feel like I've climbed almost 5,000 feet already, which is awesome. Either I'm feeling strong, or with the side trail the numbers might be a little bit off, but either way, feeling strong means we have like less than 2,500 feet to climb, depending on what miles we want to do. So just gonna relax here, wait for the others, and enjoy a snack. Leaving lunch after a 2.5 hour break. The others got there late United, so they're still hanging out. The others being Milkman, Rocket, and then Squirrel. Squirrel's a hiker that Milkman and Rocket know, that we met in Reading last night, and he just hitched to the campground with us, and is hiking with us today. Who knows if he'll keep up with us or not, but left the others behind, and we talked about it, and we're gonna try and go another 14.9 miles to a lake to end the day. So in that 14.9 miles, only 2,500 feet of climbing compared to the almost 5,000 we did in the first quarantine. So we talked and decided we're going to go another 14.9 miles. In that 14.9 miles, we'll end at Porcupine Lake is the goal, and why we're doing that. But only 2,500 feet of climbing compared to the 14.3 we did this morning with 5,000 feet of climbing. You know, I always do like to go over halfway before stopping for lunch, but we didn't know how far we were gonna go until we all met up and talked about how we were feeling, and there isn't any other good spots to stop between where we stopped for lunch and the next 5 miles. So anyways, 14.9 more miles is our goal to get to Porcupine Lake, where people say it's a good temperature, good lake, and hoping for a nice lake, a nice swim to cool off at the end of the day. I think we're getting our first glimpse of Mount Shasta right there. You might not be able to see through the haze. Trail goes up the mountain that way, and then over there is a mountain lake. There's Mount Shasta covered by clouds. It is 6 o'clock and I am 1.9 miles from the lake, stopping for a crumpled Pop-Tart break. I normally wouldn't stop this close to camp, but I've been very, very hungry today, probably because of all the climbing, and I don't want my last 2 miles to be miserable, so I'm going to eat this and then keep on going. I'll get to the lake before 6:45 and be able to jump in and enjoy a swim. This is the buildup of dust after only 20 miles.
fingers? No.
Yeah.
No, I just do this.
It looks very effective.
It gets most of it.
Good morning from day 62. I am on the side trail, just getting back to the main trail. It is just shy of 6:30, which used to be late for me, but seems to be my new normal start time. My alarm goes off at 5:30, and then just kind of slowly taking my time setting up camp, or packing up camp, and then checking in with the others in the morning. So our goal today, I believe it was 28.9 miles. So yesterday we did 29.6 and 7,500 feet of climbing. Today our minimum is going to be 28.9. We might push further because in that 28.9 miles there is only 1,700 feet of climbing, which is amazing. We'll basically feel flat compared to yesterday and any other day. 1,700 feet of climbing is minuscule amounts. So we'll touch base. We plan to stop for lunch around 18 miles. Me and Rocket both like that because that way we're way more than halfway done. It just helps with our motivation for the second half of the day. So this spring at about 18 miles where we'll stop. I'm in the lead when hiking, so if it's getting later in the afternoon, you know, I don't want to hike past 1 o'clock before lunch. So if it's getting to 1 and I'm not at the spring, that means the others won't be at the spring, so I'll stop sooner. But plan to meet there for lunch, touch base, see how we're feeling, and keep going. What else? I don't think I mentioned yesterday, my left knee is starting to hurt. It was really weird, makes no sense. So Thursday's when we hiked into Quincy. Friday we did our 12-mile day out. Saturday 6 miles to Belden and got hitched back. And Sunday was our 0 day and transport to Reading. So my knee started hurting end of day Sunday, which makes no sense for it to start hurting after 2 days of low activity. If it started hurting Saturday, that would have made more sense, even though it was only 6 miles into Belden, as a very steep descent. But as it was, only started hurting Sunday night when we got to the campground, and I don't really feel it while walking. I mainly feel it while sitting down and getting up. So like when it's really bent and a lot of weight going on it. So we'll just keep seeing how it's going. Fortunately, with low ascent today, there's also low descent. So it shouldn't be aggravated too much today, and hopefully a couple days like that, it'll just start feeling normal again. One other thing is that there's about 20 hikers at the lake last night. Some had done 20 miles to the lake, some had done 30 like we did. The fire has created a huge ball of hikers because of the 200-mile trail closure, and then recommended not everyone went to Quincy because Quincy, as we learned, is a very hard place to get out of for transport for the north. So anyone who was in that 200-mile closure section, and then people that were even in Truckee, which was, I want to say, over 100 miles before Quincy, everyone's skipping ahead to where we are, either to Mount Shasta where we are, or to Ashland, which is like a couple hundred miles ahead. But because of the fire and everyone's skipping, we're all kind of being pushed, instead of being spread out over like 300 miles, we all got deposited in one place. So there's quite a huge bubble. And those Castle Crags back in the distance that we were hiking along yesterday. Mount Shasta is out from behind the clouds. And it's been such a beautiful trail this morning. I don't know what it is, but I have been super hungry today. It's barely 10:30, slightly after 10:30, and I've already eaten my Gatorade protein bar, my Cliff protein bar, and a Pop-Tart, and I'll be stopping for lunch in about an hour and a half. So maybe this is delayed hunger from yesterday, but I'm definitely gonna be eating a little bit more than my daily allotment today, which is totally fine. I packed extra just in case. I'm feeling really proud of myself. I'm not sure if this is a record, but either way, it doesn't really matter. I've done 18.6 miles by noon. I started at 6:30. Granted, the only way I was able to do this much was because there's only 1,400 feet of gain. But either way, feeling really proud. Got here much earlier than everyone else. There was no rush. I just wanted to see if I could do it. But that means I am going to wait here for probably a couple hours. The others will probably be an hour, hour and a half behind, and then wait with them while we rest. At minimum, we've got another 10.5 miles to go, but we'll see how they feel and if we want to go further. So we've been walking after lunch for about 15 minutes. We decided to go, instead of 10 miles further to camp, an extra 15. That'll set us up for tomorrow to have a 29-mile day to a lake. Be only 5 or 6 miles outside of Etna for the next day, and then also takes away about 1,500 feet of climbing for tomorrow. Puts it on today where we've barely done anything. So it'll end up being like a high 33-mile day, I believe. I'll do the math once I get to camp. But be a longer day today, miles, still a low elevation day, and we've got plenty of time left in the day to do it. It is 8:55 and I am heading to the stream that's 0.1 away from the campsite to clean my very dirty feet. Me and Rocket got to camp around 8:35, so very, very late. So this is probably one of the worst tent sites we have had, because we got here so late. There was already 5 other tents set up, so we were kind of just camping in a little field with weeds and cow patties. But you know, all we need to do is go to sleep, which obviously this is going to be a late night. But we did 33.7 miles today. Fortunately, only like somewhere between 33 and 3,500 feet of climbing. It's not bad, but it was a long day and we are all tired and ready for bed. As well as cleaning my feet, I'm also killing time while my ramen cold soaks. It started right when I got to camp, but does take about 20 minutes to cold soak. So I'm killing time for that to be ready so I can eat before crawling into bed.